What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zamboni. I am an herbalist and astrologer. I am coming to you from the Ocean Forest Eco Lodge on the west coast of Costa Rica, a spot called Guardia de Osa, the orchid of the Osa Peninsula. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It is time to talk about the astrology of the week. So, as always, make sure to follow me on Patreon. Check me out on Patreon. That stuff is, I've done a lot of stuff recently around, just like some astrology basics, and I'm working on a series now on how to do basic stuff, like the sort of like basic stuff that I do in order to like manifest my dreams. That I'm sort of like breaking down the basics of how to do that for you, and so check me out there and make sure and follow and subscribe and like and share and all these things. I really appreciate it. So then let's get to talking about the astrology of the week ahead. So this week is, it's new moon week, but that's at the very end of the week, right? So the new moon is going to happen at the end of the week. So this week really is about the sort of finishing up. The new moon is a cycle which sort of grows and grows and grows and then culminates at the full moon, and there's something really big, and then it comes down and comes down. And so here's where we are now. And then we're in this last little quarter of the situation. So we've got the moon sort of like becoming less and less bright. We've got a feeling here of like finishing things up in some kind of way. There's been this whole situation with like planets being all of the planets being in Aquarius, right? Basically everyone was there except Mars and Uranus. And so there's still a fair amount of stuff going on there. We've still got Saturn there. We've still got Jupiter there. Still got Mercury there this week. That's something to pay attention to. So, Mercury is ruling Mars, right? So Mars just moved into Gemini last week, right? And that is great and exciting for all the reasons that I talked about last week. Check that out last week if you didn't check last week's episode out if you didn't see that. But so Mercury is ruling this Mars, right? And so Mercury has kind of a big job. And right now Mercury is in Aquarius, and Mercury in Aquarius is very capable, is very like able to do stuff, and it's right there next to Jupiter as well. And so like this is very, when Mercury is trying to count things up and like to make sense of things and all these kinds of things that Mercury does, then Aquarius is a place where Mercury is very capable of doing these kinds of things. What's going to happen pretty soon is Mercury is going to move into Pisces. That's going to happen next week. So when Mercury moves into Pisces, Mercury is far less capable of doing the Mercury things. And so what we have now is an opportunity to do all of the Mercury things. If you have any accounting that you need to do, we've got tax season coming up in the United States, for example. If you have any kind of letters that need writing, if you have any important communications that need to be sent out, if you want to come to an agreement of some sort, if you want to draw up documents and sign them, any of these kinds of things, anything you want clear communication, this week is a very good week to do that. We're going to sort of run out of that possibility once Mercury moves into Pisces. Things are going to get much more difficult. That's at the beginning of next week. So now is a really good time to take advantage of the good Mercury while it's still here. We've got a really nice Mercury still, and so that's something to really think about. But the truth is, we're really already beginning the Pisces puddle. So we had a bunch of stuff in Aquarius, right? And so we've still got stuff there, and then the moon is going to come through and say hi to all that stuff. So there's going to be 4 planets in Aquarius for a minute, right? Which is not quite as much as it was a month ago when it was 6, but it's still a lot. There's still a lot of energy there. There's still a lot of focus in this area. After the whole moon cycle, this is a little bit of a revision. We're going to take a look at things, see how it went, see how things have been going, and then now, because the new moon is going to be in Pisces, we're one sign before that. So this is the balsamic moon. This is the very end. This wants to wrap things up. It wants to sort of like close down some kind of segment here. And so we can see how like maybe a chapter has gone by, and this is a good time for review and reflection and all these kinds of things. Then we're going to move into the new moon in Pisces. And what's going to happen there is we've got Neptune in Pisces, we've got Venus in Pisces, we've got the sun in Pisces, and then we're going to have the moon in Pisces also. So that's another 4 planets there that will be in this part of the sky. And so a teacher of mine, Kelly Surtees, called this the Pisces Puddle. And I think that is the best. It's so good. It's like, it's all of the feelings. All of the feelings take place in this area of sky. We've got Venus here, right? Venus is very much about feeling stuff, about sort of the emotional experience of a thing. Venus tends toward pleasure and joy and unity and harmony and these kinds of things, especially in Pisces. We've got Venus in Pisces in her exaltation, which is a really nice Venus position. It's very, I have found it very pleasurable. There's like a lot of fun games that we're out here like able to play. There might be sort of an inspired artistic or creative practice that might come out around this time with Venus and Pisces. There's like a lot of really nice Venus significations that can come through, beautiful things of all sorts, arts and music, especially poetry perhaps. Pisces is very big on image and metaphor and doesn't necessarily know how to do words in the sort of prosaic style. And so that's how you get things like poetry, and we get into things like metaphor and, saying the thing is a thing, but sort of like meaning this other thing, right? This is how we sort of operate in Pisces. So we've got Venus there. We also have Neptune there. Neptune is really big, right? Neptune is expansive or vast. And in a way that's like bigger than Jupiter, right? Jupiter is big, but it's kind of contained. It's like very big and just big enough. Whereas Neptune is too big. It's like it's incomprehensible how large Neptune is. Neptune is like the same way that the cosmos has no choice but to be infinite, and that concept is too much for my little human head. That is the way that Neptune sort of operates, right? Neptune is very big and confusing and can be a little lazy sometimes. Perhaps there's a little bit of like a lot of feelings in Pisces and perhaps a bit of overwhelm, a kind of feeling of like, I can't even move because it's so big, it's so much going on here. I have all of the feelings. Venus is going to want to like sort of smooth a lot of that out. But still, we're really going to be looking at a lot of this kind of big feeling stuff. The moon as well is generally associated with moods and emotions and things of this nature. How are you doing in your body? How are you feeling? How are you feeling in your mind? Like all of these things work together here with the moon. And so, so with all of these things, and then the new moon is going to be coming there with the sun as well. And this is the new moon. So we have the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius right now. That means we're having eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius. Pisces is right between these two signs. It's between Sagittarius and Gemini, actually. And so since we are at this moment, then this is the bending. This is like, we're at the halfway point in between eclipses. And because it's configured to the eclipse points so strongly, I've been really thinking about the way that I've been delineating that, and you can look back on my like dailies. I do dailies every day, and I write something about what's going on in the heavens, right? And when I do that, the way that I've been delineating this Venus and Pisces has been very pleasurable, but also wildly unstable in the way that the nodes are very unstable. The nodes are very like back and forth and back. There's a kind of seesaw dynamic that goes on with the nodes here, all right? Also, mutable signs. Sagittarius, Gemini, and Pisces are all mutable signs. And so this mutable signs are known for their adaptability, their changeability. They're known for like, moving things around or being mind is easily changed. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want is fine. Like I can just like, go whatever. I thought I was going to do this thing, but I guess we're not. So I guess we're going to go this way. And like, Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius are going to be a little more ready to roll with those punches, right? So that adaptability can be super helpful for mutable signs, right? That's one of their great strengths. But it sort of lacks stability at the same time. The like same thing that produces adaptability produces instability as well. And to see the nodes there as well, sort of like making that bigger and stronger, then we can see how this can be very unstable, especially with Venus here. Venus in Pisces loves like amazing pleasures, right? And this feels a little bit like it might want to like head into like too much fun club territory a little bit. Like Kelly Surtees called it the Pisces Puddle, right? And so here we can feel how so the moon is there's almost no moonlight at this point, right? It's the new moon. It's dark. And so there's a sense of sort of staying in, being interior, feeling a lot of feelings, perhaps engaging with the overwhelm of having felt all of the feelings or seen the things. Last week, in my electional report, there was a moment where the moon in Sagittarius was with the south node and squaring Venus. And the thing that I said about that was that maybe a psychedelic journey could be in order here. There's something here about healing and about wild pleasure and creative inspiration, which is well indicated here. But also on the nodes, then there's something unstable or potentially deleterious around this as well, right? So in the way that sort of psychedelic or holotropic experiences can be kind of jarring or jolting or terrifying in some kind of ways, while at the same time producing the greatest laughter that you've ever heard of, or these kinds of things. This is kind of what we're looking at with this Venus in Pisces and all of the dynamics that are associated with the nodes as well. So we're not getting eclipses at this time, but we are seeing how this may be, if this is a big eclipse season for you, if we're if you have important things in Sagittarius and Gemini that are being eclipsed, perhaps you have Sagittarius rising or something like this, then, this is going to be a moment where we can sort of see some of that coming up and maybe take stock of this. This is a really good time for revision, reflection, sitting quietly and thinking thoughts and feeling feelings. That's what the Pisces Puddle is really good for. This is not a big get out there and do it kind of energy. You know what I mean? The doing probably works best at the beginning of the week. Like I said, we've got this Mercury stuff. If we're trying to make the most of this Mercury, then the beginning of the week is really going to be the time to do that. And then after that, being quiet, being chill, being easy, thinking about what has come to pass up to this point. How does that make me feel, and all these kinds of things are really good ways to sort of think about engaging with the Pisces Puddle as it happens. And then there's going to be this new moon, and when there's a new moon, then we have an opportunity to plant a new seed, right? And so if we're going to be thinking about planting a new seed, then the best way to avoid making the mistakes of the past is to think about them, is to sort of be confronted with the things that didn't go well. And then in doing that, then we can do a better job planting the seeds of the future. And so that is really what is on offer for us this week. There's a lot of feelings to be had here. There's a strong emotional component to what's going on here. And then perhaps we are being called to let those emotions guide us in some kind of way. If you are feeling strongly about something, then that gives you some good information, good or bad information, or good or bad feelings lead to information, which can help to guide your decision making throughout time. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. I really appreciate you. We are really getting through this thing, and please check me out on Patreon, where you can find me working on how to understand basics of astrology, and then how to use astrology to guide your practice and your life and your manifestation rituals and all of these things, whatever you want to call them. So thank you so much for joining me in these places. As always, check out thealchemistskitchen.com. Use the discount code ZamboniFunk for 10% off anything there. And I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Thank you so much for being here.